Lindsay and...
They call me Brett.
Brett, it's on his cup. Yeah, so today we're gonna kind of do a last minute tour, not a last minute, a last time tour of the house.
Hope to move out this weekend.
Yes, like in a few days. I've been a little emotional. I was thinking when I was getting ready this morning, like thinking about like what this house has done for Ryan and Rose and what God allowed it to do. We're standing here because I wanted to show you, we're gonna talk about a little bit of history. Outside this window is where I had the first idea. I was in my car. What car was I probably in? Explorer back then, 2013?
No, you were probably still in a Jeep.
Okay, in a Jeep Wrangler, and driving and turning from Evergreen onto Veranda Woods Cove, and I'll show you. So it's just at the corner of Veranda Woods and Evergreen, and I remember the Lord saying, Lindsay, I want you to start your own business. So that's where it kind of started. Even in this house, like what God has done in the last almost 7, oh my goodness, it's almost 7 years.
Yep.
I remember, I'm gonna point over here. So Brett was sitting on this couch. It wasn't this couch, but even like right here, I remember me and Whitney were doing the Rosie clip, and I brought it to him, and he was like, why don't you do this? And so it was his idea actually to double layer the clip. Is that how you would say it?
So yeah, have it double-sided.
Double-sided. So like, so much, I don't know, if you just think about, we're gonna talk about it today, but just like how much happened here and the history, and it's, I wore my shirt home because like we worked out of our home for almost 7 years.
It's insane the amount of boxes.
Yeah.
Of this product that's come in and out of the house.
We've talked about like it would be so cool to think about like how many packages came down those stairs, because everything, if it shipped from our house, it came from those stairs.
It went up and down. But I'm gonna do some rough math and make a guesstimate of how many actually came in and out of here.
Yeah. And we're gonna,
before we move out,
try to show you some pictures of like what it used to look like, and we're gonna kind of, I don't know, we're gonna have fun today and kind of show you some history of what happened where. So if y'all been following a long time, you know this actually used to be our dining room, and I have a picture. This is actually where the first Cutie Clip was made. So I don't know if you can kind of tell, there used to be an opening right here. And of course we're using this for our business and our house. We were like, okay, we don't really need a dining room, we need the kids to have a room. So this has been the playroom and Ryan's room. And Ryan is so excited. Ryan knows is moving out because she's gonna get her room back. But this is where our dining room was. I'm gonna show you a picture. Me and Whitney, I remember very clearly making our first clips. We came back from vacation, and of course, if you know June is coming. June is our big month. That's when Ryan and Rose was started, June in 2013. It started right here in our dining room. So a lot's changed, and I'm excited to change this room again once we move out and let the girls, this will probably become our office, I think. I think the girls will move upstairs, Ryan will get a room back. The playroom will be the Ryan and Rose room, and hopefully this will be our office. So cool. So if you've been following since June or July, you've seen our house full of boxes. I remember we got back from, I think, one of the modern baby markets. We got back and I was like, you had to walk through the entryway like this, and I was like, oh my God, I think that was the first time. It was like there were boxes everywhere. So we're gonna cut back and show you, but this is the norm. Like there's boxes everywhere. I think it was July. This whole den was full of boxes. It was full of Target. This is where Target happened. This is our new dining room, but we pretty much call it the Target room because this is where Target happened. Those are all Ellie's. But yeah, it's just so much has happened here. It's so cool. I don't know, I'm just real excited for the move, and I think our house is gonna be huge. It's gonna be humongous when everything moves out. It's crazy. So these are the stairs. Oh my goodness, I know when we were looking for places, Whitney was like, no stairs, no stairs. I would like to count how many times feet have gone up and down or how many packages Brett's gonna get back to us. Another fact, Jack follows me everywhere. Even when he's been sick, he came up and they were like, oh my gosh, Jack's up here. And they're like, because Lindsay's up here. But yeah, this is where all of the fun happens. We are also going to, I think, frame this right here because so much, again, has gone up and down these stairs. But if you really look at it, like, I just feel like there's so much history. It's quite dirty, but it's just a really big piece of Ryan and Rose, which is so, so exciting. This was actually the first Ryan and Rose room. I'm gonna show you some pictures. We had 2 bookshelves, right?
Yes.
2 bookshelves, 2 tables. The same tables are actually in there. I remember we went to IKEA. Me and Brett drove to Atlanta because we didn't have IKEA yet, and we shoved 2 bookcases, 2 tables in my BMW X6 that did not fit. But yeah, we actually had the first Cutie Clip wall. It was a pegboard, right?
Yeah,
all across here. That's where Natural Setting was.
Yeah, it was on the shelves. And then we would make them here, and then she would pass them to this table, and I would ship them. And she would do it per order. So it was like, they would order it, she would make that 1 clip, and then ship it, or give it to me, and we would ship it.
Crazy, crazy. Can you imagine making 1 order at a time now? I can't.
No.
I can't. It's
And now we
impossible.
have how many makers?
Ooh, 30?
Probably.
Probably 30. I mean, there's a lot of different moving parts. So, like, you know, we have stringers, we have beaters, and, you know, so I would, non-local, local, I'd probably say like 30 to 40. A lot.
Yeah.
I could not do this by myself. It's just beautiful, beautiful. So this is our break room, just kidding, but pretty much. I mean, we have coffee, bathroom, sink. But yeah, now we have keychains, and if you come in here, I think Jen used the shower once. We cleaned it out for her when she came, but this used to be boxes. Like when we sold Natural Setting, if we had to ship a big order, we would come and just grab a box out of here. Now it's cutie bands, cutie clips. These are just the actual clips, and these are straps that are in here now. So it's changed a lot. So y'all mostly know this as the shipping room. We've used every aspect of this room as well, from the attic to the closet. Whitney's probably gonna have to help me remember how everything's changed. I know there used to be bins here with Natural Setting and pacifiers.
Oh yeah.
This used to be the engraving table. If you imagine engraving table right there, I had this huge table we painted white.
Oh yeah,
and it was over there.
And then this was like the table that, at least when I started engraving at night, y'all would line up all the packing slips that had engraving, and then I would come in at night and engrave until I finished that table.
Yeah.
And then that was the shipping table.
That clip wall that I was talking about in the other room got moved to here. And I think we have an image, but it was over here.
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
So there were like bins to maybe here, and then it was like the clip, all the clips hanging, and then we would have to take the clip off the wall, package it, and then ship it. And so,
thank you, Lord, we do not have to package clips anymore. Oh,
yay for packaging.
Yes.
Already done.
Yes. I would actually say this space right here, what I remember the most is being on my knees and praying. I remember praying in the very early stages, like months, when I didn't have money to pay Diane for my employees, and being like, Lord, I need like $10 more, $10 more. And he always provided. And sometimes it was to like 10 cents. I mean, it was just crazy. He provided the whole way through. But yeah, I mean, and I know y'all probably remember, like, we started, you could tell, let me show you.
Yeah.
So these are the first 2 bookshelves. You can kind of tell they're kind of like yellowy.
Yellow compared to this.
So these were in the other room, and then you can tell the newer ones are white. But
we started with 2.
Yeah.
And then we added the 3rd one. And then we added, I think, 2 more over here. And then we ended up having to add 3 more. And then earlier this year, I think we had, or in 2019, we had to add 2 more. So we just keep adding and adding.
And John can probably tell you how many he's put together. But even the tables, like how many, I mean, just like a table at a time.
This was one of the original IKEAs.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because it's bigger. They don't sell this one anymore. Like, what? But yeah, this one and that one's my original.
Yeah.
John, how many bookshelves do you think you put together?
4.
4. Yeah.
I think.
Brett, how many bins have you screwed to the wall?
A dozen.
Yeah.
I mean, you can see we like one night I remember telling
You
Brett.
can see the old screws.
Yeah, let's put the bookshelves here, and then like seriously an hour later we were like, we don't like it. Can you move them over here?
Drum roll.
All right. What is this?
All right, this is some stats for how much has gone on in here.
Okay. Oh my gosh.
So, just under 500,000 individual packages.
500,000.
500,000. So that's 500,000.
Yes.
Out of this house.
Wow.
Over 1 million individual products.
Wow.
Clips, pats, teethers. 1.3 million steps on the stairs.
Oh my gosh.
That's some good wood.
Yeah.
Hasn't collapsed. Over 50 tons of Cutie products.
Wow.
Have been
That's awesome.
up and down the stairs.
So I got these
50
muscles here, huh?
Building
And
muscle.
then 10,000 boxes and over 5,000 mail bags.
Wow.
Have been up and down.
A lot of history.
Yeah.
So we've always, like we said, utilized every space. Behind these bookshelves have surprise clips. This is surprise. We have a refrigerator back here. And this is also where my prayer wall is. Yeah, so this is like a lot of our prayers. This is a Target prayer. But yeah, these are goals and prayers and letters people have sent me and encouragement, and I plan to have the same thing at the new warehouse, but it's a very special place. Very special place. So that before Ryan Rose, this was a game room, and I think I posted stories of Brett and Chase dancing.
Yes.
Like
it was
over there.
Yeah, because there were like couches and then like the TV, and like you would work out. She would do her Taebo over there, pre-children.
Yeah. We had the lift pool.
And get pool table here.
Night pool table.
And they had poker night. Brett and his friends had poker night upstairs.
Yeah. Was there anything else?
We took the room.
I think your tanning bed was over here.
I think it was right here.
Yeah, it was. It fit perfectly.
I do spray tan now. Spray tan. No mean messages. But yeah, a lot's changed. A lot's changed. So packaging goes in the attic. It's actually not that full because we're about to move and we didn't want to pack it full and then have to move it all. But when we do packaging, we usually have a packaging train and everybody kind of lines up, and so we just pass it and pass it and pass it until it's full, and you're usually sweaty and hot by the time you get done. This is the hallway. Of course, we have the Ellie room, the old Ryan Rose room. And this is basically clips and pats, and this is where stuff gets pulled. And then the famous bead room, which is Candace's office. Candace has been so amazing. The lab, a year, 2 years? How long have you worked with us?
A year and 3 months.
A year and 3 months. She's been so patient with us because the amount of organization that she has to have in this tiny space. She's amazing. We're really excited to finally give her a place where she can, grow and stretch out.
Be organized.
Be organized. Yes. So these are all Cutie Clips. So when the makers turn in, this is where they are, and then also behind you is full of Cutie Clips. Clips galore. We're actually gonna have a Cutie Clip room in the new space. But like us, Candace also utilizes all of her space. So she has a closet full of beads and other Ryan Rose products. And this used to be, a little bit more history. So this used to be Ryan Rose's room, but before we had kids, this was Nini's room. Nini lived with us for a year. So this, we called it Evergreen Estates or something. I don't even remember. But this used to be Nini's room, so she lived here. And then we also have the attic. Full of R&R. And some kid stuff. So for me, this house, a lot has gone on in this house. Brett, you said we purchased in 2011?
Yes.
I think it's just really cool to think about like what God had planned before we even knew anything. Like, not only did we have 2 girls in this house, we created Ryan and Rose in this house. I remember me and Cassie, I'm gonna tell you about the house, the story a little bit. We weren't even looking for a house. Brett's sister Brooke was like, hey, there's this house in Lakeland, it's beautiful, it's in foreclosure, like you have to go look at it. We came, we looked at it, we fell in love with the stone in the den. And I think we came like 20 more times. Me and Cassie snuck in those windows because they were open. So many times because I actually fell in love with this house. We prayed around this house. I think it's just really cool to think about how many prayers have been in this house. It used to be my prayer room, Candace's bathroom. I used to have a chair in there. I had prayers taped all over the wall. But yeah, you know, like our Bartlett house is kind of where we had our miscarriage, and it was been a beautiful house. We loved that house. That's where we grew, you know, me and Brett got married in that house. But like coming here, just so much, like just what God did, and just that's the last 7 years is just a really beautiful thing. So one thing I forgot to add is when I was talking about this house and how his sister was like, hey, you have to look at this house in Lakeland, and we saw it and we fell in love with everything about this house. But one thing during that time, it was what year,
2011, and this house was in foreclosure, which is why it was even in our price range.
Right.
But like, we had to sell our house, and people are like, you can't sell your house right now. It's a terrible time to sell a house.
Yeah, and that was like when the market was like at its worst, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, everyone's like, you're not gonna be able to sell your house. And what's so cool and totally a God thing is we sold our house in 9 days, right? We were in this house 30 days after the first day we looked at it. And that was unheard of during that time. So we just felt like God's hand was in it the whole time. And I think that's why I get so emotional thinking about like, little did I know what he had planned for the next 10 years and how this house has served us, and how it's changed. And I mean, because even when we lived here, like our neighborhood wasn't here. There was like,
this house was sitting up on the hill by itself. Like,
yeah,
there was none of these houses were here.
Yeah, so a lot's changed. And even if you think about like the warehouse and like the land that we've gotten, how beautiful and how perfectly it allowed us to get where we are, and now being able to transfer to the headquarters, and it's just cool. So it's a part of our story I didn't want to leave out because it's so important to see how God's had his hand on us and in it the whole situation the whole entire time.
Yep.
And I think another thing is this house has like got us where we are today. I mean, yes, hard work and our team, and there's so many aspects of that, but just like, it's just, I don't know, I just can't help but smile and think about like what God did and the plan, and like the little things, like we use this house to help grow our business. And a lot of people think we're crazy. You're still in your house. And it's funny because when we tell people we're in our house, they're like, oh, you're on Etsy. And I'm like, well, no, you know, not really, you know. So I don't really like to go into it. But like, we're this huge company and we're still in our house because I guess we like to do things differently. But we also like to listen to the Lord. And by listening to the Lord, you know, we have no debt. Like, so like when I started Ryan and Rose, I knew that I wanted no debt, and 2, I wanted to be a big giver. So that, as you know, we talk about Engage Memphis and some other aspects, but even with Ryan and Rose, like Bebo gave me my first $500 and I haven't borrowed money since. And this house allowed us to just pay cash for a warehouse. Yes, I said pay cash for a warehouse. So it's just beautiful. Like, it's just, I know I was in the shower this morning and I was just thinking about like what I was gonna say today, and I was just bawling and I couldn't stop crying. I was like, Lindsay, why don't you please stop crying? Why are you so emotional? Because God is so good all the time. He's good all the time. So I hope this video is a little bit of encouragement to, one, listen to the Lord, pray about everything, and just give it to him because he knows what's best for you. A lot of y'all know my story. Like they said, I would never have kids. So like to have 2 beautiful, healthy girls, have an amazing husband, have an amazing team, and a successful business. Like, I am so very grateful. So I hope you've enjoyed a little bit of the history of the house. Yeah, it's gonna be weird. It's gonna be really weird, you know, having to drive to work and like get up and get ready. And this is probably the last video we're gonna shoot here. Hopefully not, but yeah, just a little emotional. So hope that was fun.